Much of the focus in the Alberta election campaign has been on the four major parties, but there are a few others trying to win seats. Cheryle Chagnon-Greyeyes was elected as leader of the Green Party in September of 2018. She is the first Indigenous woman to lead a Canadian provincial political party. So far, no Green Party member in Alberta has ever been elected to office in provincial or federal politics. Danielle Smith from Global News Radio 770 CHQR continues this conversation this morning, and you're going to be doing that on your show today. Where are you going with this one, Danielle?
Well, I had said once before that we had consensus in Alberta, that all the political parties agreed that we needed to responsibly develop our resources and build pipelines. Well, there is an exception, and that would be the Green Party leader. They do not believe that there is any need for any additional export pipelines. They are on board with phasing out coal-fired electricity by 2030. They want a 50% renewable energy grid, and they want to potentially bring in a sales tax as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how she positions herself, because we know that there is still a group of Albertans that might be unhappy with the all of a sudden pro-pipeline NDP. Remember, in the past, NDP activists were out advocating against pipelines like Keystone XL and Northern Gateway. And so you could imagine there's a little bit of disgruntlement now that Rachel Notley has found, just out of necessity and pragmatism, that she's got to advocate for pipelines in the most vocal way. So I think what has happened with the Green Party is that they've created an avenue for themselves to attract some of that disaffected NDP support. And so we're going to talk with the Green Party leader today and see what she has to say.
What are you expecting out of her? That should be an interesting discussion.
It will be interesting. I mean, she's First Nations as well, so I imagine that a lot of her her approach to issues is shaped from that perspective as well, because First Nations and environmental groups have teamed up in a lot of cases to stop pipeline projects and to protest. And so I'll be curious to know what she thinks about some of the First Nations advocates for pipelines. For instance, the First Nations in Alberta have just recently pulled their support for the federal government's Bill C-69 on the grounds that they know it's not going to allow for more pipelines to be built. So I think that there's a growing divide that we're seeing in not only the First Nations community, but I think on the left as well. And I don't know if that positions her to be able to capture some of that vote, but it is definitely taking a turn that is the opposite of what we're seeing with the other political parties.
Thanks, Danielle.
Thank you.